It's time once again for the Real People multi-game solitaire mega tournament. Especially excited to start the game today. It's Android. I've played it both with humans and solitaire, but I've never played it with real people cards, partially because I think the game sort of is one of those games that comes with real people cards. There's some very distinct characters in this game, which is partially a good chunk actually why I love it. It's a lot of fun. Not for everybody. I'm not going to go into a review of the game. I am, however, before we go inside and do our character draw, I'm going to shuffle up and see what case our detectives are going to go on for the next. This is probably going to be a long one. It's a rather long game, and I think to cover everything it's going to take several videos, especially at the pace I've been going. So maybe the next 2 weeks at least, next month. The case is going to be, I took out the kind of intro case because I've done that one enough. In fact, I don't know if I've done any cases except the intro case. It's probably well shuffled. Let's see. Alright, Mons Wolf Massacre. We've got a real winner this time, folks. Apparently the entire 8-person staff of the Mons Wolf Observatory was massacred last night by a killer armed only with a mono knife. I think that's like a mono, it's a mono atom. I'm guessing that's what, it's so thin that it can just cut through anything, a mono knife. I have to warn you that for whatever reason, this case is drawing the attention of the military, so we're under a lot more scrutiny than usual. Crime scene is the Mons Wolf Observatory. This case is big, people, really big. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I suspect that whoever solves it can write their own ticket. Guilty hunches are worth +5 VP. Alright, so if you prosecuting or finding the right guilty party is going to be worth more in this game. Trust me, with the military looking over our shoulders, you'll all want to avoid the media like the plague. If you play whistleblower on this one, they'll burn and bury you. Instead of stealing one time when a player enters her location, Lily Lockwell gives that player one trauma. That's not good. She then reveals a piece of evidence and is moved as usual. Okay, so this should be fun. Mons Wolf Observatory. Let's go inside and see who our players are going to be. Alright, let's mix it up. I feel like the stack has gotten smaller. You'd think, you know, with a stack of cards this large, the few that we've taken out for the tournament thus far, and I'd say the several we've taken out for the tournament thus far, wouldn't put much of a dent in it. So maybe it's just psychological, and it's not really that much smaller. But I feel like it fits better in my hand than it did before. It was kind of disheveled in my room though, so maybe I lost some cards. Anyway, let's see where we're going to have a unique task with this particular game in matching up the right player to the right character. The characters are more developed in this game than the other games I've done so far with characters, which aren't that many, admittedly. Though I guess ideologies sort of had, you know, the ideologies had a certain character. Imperial 2030, not really. Middle Earth quests, they were kind of generic. They didn't really have any character information other than their appearance. You can kind of extrapolate based on their stats. However, what else did I play? Oh, Conquest of Planet Earth. There was some character there, but this game has some much stronger characters, and so I hope we can find the right person to play each person. Let's see. What's going through my head right now is I wonder why someone would want to kill all these people at Mons Wolf Observatory. What could the motive of the killer be? Alright, first person is, ooh, okay. I always get excited when I see someone with a mustache. This is Sparky, and he's an entrepreneur. His secret fantasy is an underwater tour of Truck Lagoon or the Great Barrier Reef. An adventure. An unusual fact is he played the killer in Agatha Christie's play The Mousetrap. I think that's particularly heavy information given the game he's about to embark on. Pet peeve is slow drivers. A lot of people. He'd like to meet Jacques Cousteau. His personal motto is have fun always. Most proud of his underwater photography. Reputation in high school, lady killer. 3 words that describe him are eclectic, adventurous, and gregarious. All right, and you know, I think that mustache is the kind of underwater adventurer mustache. I don't know, maybe they call it the Cousteau, but I think Jacques Cousteau might have had a different mustache, but that looks like a good adventurer mustache. Seems like, you know, it's strong, it's bold, but maybe doesn't take too much upkeep. Yeah, something you could maintain while out and about. Let's go ahead and draw another one. Ooh, okay. This guy, I said ooh because he has suspenders and a tie. He looks like a Republican. He's a sales management person, and his name is Twigmar. His secret fantasy is to live Gauguin's life. An unusual fact about Twigmar is a secret beauty mark. His pet peeve is stupidity. He'd like to meet Frank Zappa. His personal motto is conscious of no wrong. He's most proud of his friends. Reputation in high school, just plain weird. 3 words that describe him are loyal, quick, true. So I said I thought he looked like a Republican. I don't think he you know, I really don't think there was any data in his list that suggested he was a Republican. So I think I was a little too quick to judge based on appearances. And I was wrong to do that. I'm sorry. Alright. Jeez, real kind of a downer on this little thing. I'm getting messed up now. Another mustache. This is Dick, and he's a private investigator. Oh my gosh, we have a private investigator and a murderer and a weirdo. His secret fantasy involves Cool Whip and ice cubes. An unusual fact about Dick is he was stabbed twice on Thanksgiving. His pet peeve is wrappers on processed cheese. It wasn't getting stabbed. That doesn't bother him as much as wrappers on processed cheese. He'd like to meet God. His personal motto is Carpe Diem. That's seize the day. For those of you who don't know Latin like I do. He's most proud of his sense of direction. His reputation in high school is absent. 3 words that describe him are tall, sensitive, sexy. Dick. Okay. Whew. Looks like we might have another sausage party here if we're not careful. Hopefully we draw a female. Otherwise, I think Dick is going to have to be that psychic girl. Seems kind of fitting, I don't know. And here we go. Okay, here we go. This is Banana, and she's an English teacher. Her secret fantasy is to have a good-looking live-in gourmet cook. Why do they have to be good-looking? I don't know. An unusual fact about Banana is her green thumb encourages conversation with plants. Her pet peeve is people who chew with their mouths open. She'd like to meet Mark Twain. Personal motto is love many, trust few, always learn to paddle your own canoe. Love many, trust few, always learn to paddle your own canoe. Love many, trust few, always learn to paddle your own canoe. Love many, trust few, always learn to paddle your own canoe. Love many. Okay, she's most proud of her 2 daughters. Her reputation in high school was a shy, good student. 3 words that describe her are honest, kind, and conservative. Here's Banana, our 4th player. We have 1 more to go. I'm going through them all. I'm not doing different takes. I'm just gonna fix my hair. Good. Alright, so far, half the people have mustaches. Make that more than half the people have mustaches. This is Coonies, and he's a cashier. His secret fantasy is to have lunch with all 3 of the original Charlie's Angels. An unusual fact about Coonies is he can imitate Rocky the Flying Squirrel and Bullwinkle. Most people can only do one or the other. Not Coonies. He's got a range. Pet peeve is balloons being rubbed the wrong way. What's the right way, Coonies? He'd like to meet Brenda Lee. His personal motto is, if you can't do anything about it, why worry and get wrinkles? I like that motto a lot. He's most proud of his perfect pitch. Music, in parentheses. That's what he's talking about. It's not baseball. His reputation or what else would have pitch? Something to do with fire, right? Reputation in high school. He's pretty average, nice guy. 3 words that describe him are witty, outgoing, and bubbly. Goonies. Oh. All right, we've got a good group here. I feel good about him. It's going to be a chore. Not a chore. It's going to be a tough decision to kind of assign each person to their proper role. But I'll do that and get back to you. And I have all the real people distributed to their characters, matched up with their characters. I'll let you judge for yourself the soundness of my reasoning. I have them in order based on how many science fiction books I think each real person has read. The first player is supposed to be the person who's read the most science fiction books, and I just ordered them all that way. So here, Twigmar, I think probably read the most, followed by the English teacher, Banana, and then Coonies, and then our marine adventurer, Sparky, and finally Dick. Alright, so there we go. I was really close to swapping Dick and Twigmar. I wanted Dick to be Caprice, but I thought that Twigmar would have he could have been Rachel Beckman, but I thought he fit Caprice a lot better. Seemed to kind of fit his general vibe a little better than Rachel Beckman. He's the only one who's talked about getting stabbed. He seems like he should be the tough character, one of the tough characters. She's closer to a private investigator than Louis Blaine. I think they fit perfectly, Banana and Louis Blaine. I'm excited to see her temper come out. She starts out in a bad mood, so all right, I got some more setting up to do, as you can see, and then we'll get started. Okay, we have our game all set up. As you can see, the game has a rather large table print. I don't have the biggest table in the world anyway. It's rare that I can fit everything I need just on the table. Lots of times I'll have things down below. I have a desk down there or off to the side here. But I've managed to get most of it fit. One of the things I did to help make room, and this is always a problem with it's oftentimes tricky with the real people cards to figure out where they go, is I put them right in the stands of their own character that they're playing, which I think kind of works visually as well as gives me some space, because the player board areas are very cramped. It's real. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this work or not. I have in the past, but it gets really messy. The only problem with this is that the cards are so big that they kind of block things behind them. So I'll just kind of get an aerial shot here. Let's see if I can do. There we go. So as you can see, we have the board here. Here are our different suspects. I'm not going to tell you how to play the game. There's probably better people to do that. But throughout the game, there's kind of 3 main things our characters are going to be doing. They're either going to be placing evidence on the suspects, and everyone has their own hunch as to who they think's guilty and who they think's innocent. Basically, at the end of the game, whoever has the most evidence placed on them, the most points worth of evidence, is going to be charged and found guilty, and then whoever has that hunch gets X number of points. I don't remember how it is, but that's kind of the main block of points through that. Another way they get points is there's this conspiracy puzzle. Instead of placing evidence on a suspect, you can decide to uncover this conspiracy, and there's 3 different kinds of pieces. The ones that are in these stacks are better generally. They give you better bonuses for placing them. But basically, if you can connect this eye to any of these organizations on there, there'll be certain effects that happen, and you get points for completing the puzzle as well.
final way, and I think the most interesting way, kind of objective to the game, is each character is going to have these plots that are going on, and this gets into like whatever's going on in their personal life while they're investigating this murder and this conspiracy. I really like this, and I think this is something that's lacking in a lot of games. I know that even as I'm doing the Real People multi-game solitaire mega tournament, there's all sorts of other stuff going on in my life. And I think that informs the way the mega tournament goes, just as the mega tournament affects that. You know, it's our jobs aren't separate from the rest of our life. So basically what people are going to be doing, so they're going to be flying around their little rocket cars here, and this is Floyd's rocket car, which is up there, and they're going to, let's see, oh yeah, that circle's there, so they can move around like so to any kind of space within the radius of their caliper or their rocket car, and then pick up evidence, and there's different things you can do on different spots. Evidence is these little things here. There's documentary evidence, physical evidence, and there's testimonial evidence. There's one of the suspects. If you talk to one of the suspects, you can obtain evidence. So you're going to be flying around, doing things, trying to deal with their plots, trying to get evidence. And that's mostly the game. Oh, big part of the game is these light and dark cards. Everyone has light cards for themselves and dark cards for other people, and they have this scale. So if they play a light card, they shift dark-wise, right? And so if they're too far dark, each light card has a cost, right? And so if they're too far dark, they can't play light cards. So there's this incentive for the players to almost act as the game mechanism that creates problems for the other players. Because in order to do good things for yourself, which you pretty much have to do if you're going to succeed, you have to do bad things to the other people. And that's just a basic overview of the game. So let's look at our starting plots, because this is kind of my favorite part. So Caprice, who is played by, I gotta remind myself of his name, Twigmar. That's a great name. Her main plot is starting out with, anyway, she's gonna have another one later on, I think in week 2. Her main plot is going to be kind of to find her freedom for herself. She's currently property of this corporation Jinteki, where she starts out the game. She's a clone and has psychic powers. That's kind of her story. So she's got a lot of emotions to deal with. As you can see, she's in danger of going insane. She has a sanity chart here that goes up and down depending on what happens. All right, and then we have Lewis, who's a corrupt cop, and he's actually starting with his corrupt cop plot on the take, where he's kind of, you know, he wants to do good, but he has accepted money in order to do favors for some certain people. Let's read his little paragraph. Sitting on the dock under the night sky, Lewis looked down at the money in his hands. He could almost feel the blood on it, and the ache to hear the laughter of his partner one last time squeezed his chest like a vice. Taking a deep breath, he let the money go, and it blew away into the black waters of the Pacific. "I'm sorry, Jim. It's long past time I ended this." So this plot, he's going to, his partner got murdered. You know, kind of. There's a lot of kind of very archetypal, classic noirish stories in this game, and this is one of them. I think because they're sort of archetypal, the game can get by with just giving you little impressions of them. So there's these little paragraphs, but the game has a way of allowing your mind and gameplay to kind of connect those dots, per se, to make a different picture each game, which is cool. Floyd, all of his plots have to do with his different directives. He's an android, so he has a bioroid, actually, a biological android. So he has these 3 different directives. And right now he's got to deal with the "you cannot kill" directive. He's got a friend who's a priest. As you can see, he's religious. And in order to save the priest, he has to commit murder, which he has a directive against. So his are different than the other people's in that he basically gets to choose whether or not, which way his plot goes. The other people, they have these little things called baggage that are either good or bad, and they have conditions wherein they get good baggage or bad baggage. If they have more good baggage than bad baggage, they get the good result. And that's basically how it goes, except for Floyd, he just gets to pick. So here we have the, I think he's a veteran. Yeah, he's probably a veteran. Raymond Flint, who's also a PI. He's got all sorts of memory problems. In fact, all the other characters have a card that, if he goes to a particular location, they can trigger a flashback for him. And it does bad things for him. He used to be a pilot, so his car goes really fast. He's got a really good car. And so he's got an old flame who's come back into his life, and that's what he's going to have to deal with. She's Trouble. Hey, lover. Long time no see, she purred at me. I frowned. Well, that was your choice, sugar. You left without a word. She laughed, ha 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 ha, her silver voice ringing in the air, and ran a hand along my cheek. Same old Ray. Always so serious. Let's just let bygones be bygones. I don't know about you all, but I've had experiences like that with ex-flames who are maybe not so good for me. So I think I can relate to this particular plot, and I'm sure some of you can too. This character, her name is Rachel. She is, I think she's a cyborg, and she's a bounty hunter, and her big problem is she's always in debt. So she's the only one who has to actually keep track of her money, and she gets points based on how much money she has in the end of the game. And I haven't even looked over what her plot is. It's called A Friend Indeed. Lena, I don't need your help. Like hell, how much do you owe Fisk? She leaned forward. Rachel, I'm your friend. I know, Lena, and that's exactly why you can't help me with this one. So I don't know what's going on with that plot. That's going to be fun to explore. That's a new one for me. All right, and Twigmar got a healthy start on Caprice's Property of Jinteki plot. He basically buzzed around to three different places and placed some evidence. Since he revealed the evidence, he was able to place some good baggage on her courage area of her plot, which was nice. The pieces of evidence he revealed was -2, which makes it look like he's either he's exonerating Eve, and then a +2 on Vinny the Strangler. Now I have to say that the lowest piece of evidence in these weak areas will be dropped at the end of the game. So if -2 ends up being the lowest thing on there, all the -2s will go away. Alright, and he kept this one secret. So maybe he felt that 2 was enough. And that was her turn. Okay, Banana. Is it Banana or Banana? It's just Banana. Just took her turn with her buddy Lewis. She opted not to question this fellow here and get some evidence. Instead, what she did was she decided to, one, ask Sarah out dancing, which you can see she's having Lewis head over there right now. They're going to meet at Memories of Green in order to dance. Also, she played this other light card, which both of those gave her good baggage, which is nice, to get some favor. So she's sitting on a lot of favor. Favor isn't cheap. For example, to get a piece of favor the conventional way, it generally costs 2 time. So you get, on average, 6 time a turn. Most players do. Floyd gets a little more, and Caprice, if she's feeling particularly sane, gets more. But anyway, that's a third of your turn just to get 1 favor. He got 2 just by playing that 1 card. Pretty good, and he also got some good baggage out of it. So anyway, he did that. Followed up on a couple of leads. Both of them, no, one he plopped down on Eve 5VA 3TC. In the weak section. Another one he plopped down on Vinny. Now here's a little interesting thing. Okay, I'm going to reveal one of his cards. I think it's this one, yes. He believes very strongly that Vinny is guilty, which makes sense. I mean, his name is Vinny the Strangler. And it was a very, very physical murder, just with this one knife. Of course, that wasn't strangulation, so that's kind of not Vinny's MO, but still, he feels like, of the 6 of them, he's the most likely to have this sort of rage and strength involved to commit such a crime. However, he also noticed that Caprice also put guilty hunches on Vinny. I will have you know there's only one of each guilty card in the game. So, Caprice is up to something a little capricious, if you don't mind me saying. Okay, Coonies and Floyd have finished their turn. First thing he did was he made the board, he impressed the board, spent the favor he got from them to get 3 victory points. So he's now the leader in terms of points, which doesn't mean a lot. Most of the points are made at the end of the game, but he got some points. That's great. Then he went around and got some evidence and all that. Instead of placing evidence on, or he followed leads. Instead of using the leads to place evidence, he went after the conspiracy puzzle. So first thing he did was he dug deeper, which made his little marker go up to the favor puzzle pieces. Got a favor puzzle piece, took a blue one, possibly because he wants to go back and get some more victory points there, and also got a dropship pass, which is really good for him. He's one of the slow characters. If you look at, you can compare him to Raymond here, or to Caprice. They're the 2 fastest in terms of their ship. He's very slow. I think that's in part to compensate for the extra speed he gets. He starts out with 7 actions a turn rather than 6, and then he can get something else that makes him go even faster. Yeah, he can do lots of short little moves to start the game. And then he ended up in the Earthrise Hotel. Didn't have enough actions to follow up this lead, but was able to draw another light card. Unfortunately, he can only play 1 light card a turn. Hard on him. Raymond Sparky just had a turn, and it was event-filled. All right, so first thing he moved, and as soon as he moved, what's the player's name? Oh, Dick played, "Hey, Keen, sorry I haven't visited lately," and that made him haunted by his past, his old friend who died in the war. I rubbed my fingers over one of the many names carved into the stone memorial and poured a little whiskey on the ground. Drink up, buddy. And that made him go to the old war memorial. Once there, he got to draw a free dark card. Of course, he picked Rachel's, who's Dick's character. Then he uncovered a couple pieces of the conspiracy. He used a light card here that involved his old flame. Naturally, that led me to a few further deduction. That allowed him to play an extra conspiracy piece. So he got to play a piece of evidence and get a dropship pass off that. He used the dropship pass to go to the moon and snag the piece of evidence on the Earthrise Hotel. Pretty good turn, although there was some bumps in the road. He made use of it. He used that dropship pass. He still has another one, which is good for him. Forgot to mention, he put both pieces of evidence on Sergeant Deja Thoris, a decorated soldier who served in the Martian military. I'm sure they probably have some past, given that he's a military man as well. Alright, Dick and Rachel connection are done. And here's what happened right off the bat. He got this, I forgot about this bill card played on her, him, her. Played on, I guess it was played on Rachel. Played on him as a player. Just basically made it so she lost $1,000. Yeah, I think it was just a bill that she forgot. That's all that it was. Then she spent the rest of her turn moving over to Freetown, over here in C7. Didn't really do a lot along the way. However, once she got there, she put a piece of evidence down. She followed a lead and put a piece of evidence down on Mark Henry here, who's this mining clone. Kind of a nervous fellow. He has a chip, or no, a tattoo, I think, that identifies him as a clone in his neck. And then she also got into a fight. She had a choice whether to be, it was a bounty, whether or not to, well, she's going after this guy named Oliver. She's just telling Oliver, no, Oliver's her friend, I think. She's telling Oliver, this guy's the real deal. So she had a choice whether or not to like fight nice or fight dirty. She chose to fight dirty, which gave her a -1 victory point, but it would have given her -2 had she chosen to fight nice. And she also got some street favor, which is good. She kind of got some cred for fighting dirty, and it gave her some more money. So although she lost 1,000, she ended up gaining 5,000, so a net gain of 4,000. She started the game with 2,000. Not too bad. Got to draw some cards along the way. She drew... Looks like she got to draw, yep, 2 dark cards and 2 light cards along the way. Not a bad turn for Dick. Along with the tit-for-tat dark card he took for Raymond, he also took a dark card for Floyd. Kind of had to just go by personality and winningness on that choice, because there was no real reason to pick one person over another. He didn't totally want to just go after Raymond, however, that didn't seem like a healthy sort of way to play the game. Okay, well, I feel like we've gotten a good jump on the case, so to speak. We got through the first day of Android, and I'm really enjoying it. I think something about the experience in that game is always fun. It took this turn kind of was getting back into the rules in terms of my head. I'm not sure whether, I mean, it's one of those games where the turns are very definite, which I found was nice in Shogun in terms of videoing, that I was able to break it down by character, you know, focus on one character each turn. I don't know if I want to do that for this game, because it just feels like there's a good thread for each of them all the time, and I feel like we'd miss out on that if I were to do that. I'm not sure how exactly to handle it, if I should just keep going through the turns like I am right now. Would that just feel kind of a little too rhythmic, or what? So I'll have to do some thinking about that. It's hard to... Each game kind of has its own rhythm that you want to film, and it's hard to know what that's going to be until you're almost done with the game, and then it's like, yeah, I'll just have to do more mega tournaments, I think. But anyway, I love to play Android solo and with other people. Nice thing about solo is you're sure that you have time to finish the game, and I'm not as hesitant to play with all 5 players, which I really enjoy. I don't like to do that with humans. But thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying the Real People Multi-Game Solitaire Mega Tournaments treatment of Android.